Sometimes the best way to make things happen is to stop trying so hard to make them happen. When you take your focus off what everyone else is doing and turn it inward, on your own habits, your own growth, your own peace, life starts to shift, not overnight, but steadily. And here's the magic: when you add silence to that mix, you become unpredictable, composed, and magnetic. When you protect your energy, you change the entire way life feels and responds to you. Most people don't realize how much of their daily energy is wasted on things that don't matter, on arguments that don't go anywhere, on trying to fix people who don't want to be fixed, on worrying about opinions that have no weight in their future. Energy is not an infinite resource. You only get so much mental, emotional, and physical fuel in a day, and if you burn it all on distractions, you have nothing left for the things that actually move your life forward. Protecting your energy starts with awareness, noticing who and what drains you. That could be certain conversations, environments, or even your own habits. The second step is boundaries. Not every call needs to be answered. Not every problem needs your opinion. Not every emotion needs to be reacted to in the moment. The power is in knowing when to engage and when to walk away. When you pull your energy back from things that deplete you, you instantly start to feel lighter. That's because you're no longer feeding negativity with your attention. Energy works like currency. Where you spend it determines what grows. If you keep spending it on frustration, resentment, or drama, those things will expand in your life. If you invest it into your health, your skills, your passions, and your peace, those will grow instead. Protecting your energy also means protecting your mental space. The people you let speak into your life, the content you consume, the environments you stay in, all of it shapes how you think and feel. Just like you wouldn't eat food that makes you sick, you shouldn't keep consuming information, conversations, or company that makes you mentally tired. One of the biggest misconceptions about protecting your energy is that it means cutting everyone off or avoiding responsibilities. It's not about hiding from life. It's about engaging with life from a place of strength instead of depletion. When you're drained, even small challenges feel like mountains. When you're energized, even big obstacles feel manageable. Protecting your energy is about making sure your emotional battery is charged so you can show up fully in the moments that matter. Sometimes that means saying no without over-explaining. Sometimes it means not replying right away. Sometimes it means walking away from something you really wanted just because you realize it's costing you more than it's giving you. Here's the quiet truth. The more you protect your energy, the more you attract people and situations that respect it. You stop being available for chaos, and chaos stops finding you. You start valuing your own time and space, and life starts mirroring that value back. It's not selfish, it's self-respect. And when you move through life with that kind of grounded presence, you become harder to shake, harder to drain, and much more capable of building the life you actually want. Clarity doesn't usually come when you're talking. It comes when you're quiet. Silence has a way of clearing out the mental clutter that constant noise creates. Every day, we're surrounded by opinions, advice, demands, and distractions. It's like trying to hear your own voice in a room full of shouting people. When you choose silence, you're not just avoiding noise from others, you're also calming the noise inside yourself. Your thoughts slow down. Patterns start to appear. You notice things you didn't before, not because they weren't there, but because you finally gave yourself the stillness to see them. Silence is not about doing nothing. It's about making space for the right things to appear. In those quiet moments, you start to feel the difference between what's urgent and what's important. You stop reacting to every little thing that happens and start responding from a place of thoughtfulness. Clarity is the result of that shift. When you're constantly speaking, explaining, or defending, you're in a state of output, giving energy out. Silence flips that. It's a state of input where you're taking in observations, ideas, and realizations that can only come when you pause. The world moves fast, and it pressures you to move at the same speed. But speed without direction is just chaos in motion. Silence is what gives you direction. It's like pulling over on a long drive to check the map instead of just hoping you're going the right way. Without those pauses, you might keep driving, but you'll end up far from where you actually wanted to be. Clarity through silence means giving yourself permission to stop and reassess, even when the world tells you to keep going. There's also a strength in quiet that many people underestimate. Speaking can feel like control, but it often gives control away. The more you talk, the more you reveal, and the more room there is for others to shape your thoughts. When you stay silent, you hold the cards closer. You have time to think through your words before releasing them. You can choose which battles are worth your voice and which ones can dissolve without you lifting a finger. This doesn't mean you never speak up. It means you speak with intention. The clarity that comes from silence ensures that when you do talk, you're saying something that matters. You're not just filling the air, you're delivering something with weight behind it. And people notice. They lean in when you speak because you're not always talking. Your words have value because they're not cheapened by constant repetition. The truth is, silence is uncomfortable for most people. They rush to fill it because they're afraid of what they'll hear if they don't. But if you can sit in that space, if you can handle the stillness, you'll find that it's where your best decisions are born. It's where your mind organizes itself, your priorities align, and your next step becomes obvious. And that's the kind of clarity no amount of noise can give you. When you focus on your own growth, something shifts in the way life interacts with you. It's not that the world suddenly changes overnight. It's that your perspective, your energy, and your presence change, and those changes start to attract the right opportunities and people without you even forcing it. Self-alignment is about living in a way that matches what you truly value, not what others expect from you. It's deciding that your time is better spent building yourself than chasing approval or validation. When you align your actions with your values, you create a steady, authentic version of yourself that draws in the kind of life you actually want. The reason this works is simple. People and opportunities respond to energy. When you're scattered, inconsistent, and unsure of yourself, that's the signal you send out, and you tend to attract more uncertainty in return. But when you're focused on your own development, learning, improving, taking care of your health, pursuing your goals, you give off a different signal. You become someone who values progress and peace, and the world tends to match that back to you. This isn't magic, it's alignment. You're tuning yourself to the frequency of what you want, and as a result, you start to see more of it. Self-alignment also protects you from being pulled into situations that don't fit you. When you know who you are and where you're headed, it's much easier to spot when something is out of place. You stop saying yes to every invitation, every idea, or every relationship just because it's offered. Instead, you measure it against your direction. If it moves you forward, you take it. If it doesn't, you let it pass without guilt. This selective approach creates space for the right things to arrive because your life isn't already overcrowded with things that don't serve you. And here's another truth. Self-alignment makes you magnetic. Not in a flashy, attention-seeking way, but in a calm, steady way that people respect. When you're not desperate for approval, you naturally earn it. When you're not chasing attention, you quietly command it. That's because confidence built from self-growth isn't loud, it's grounded. It shows in the way you carry yourself, the way you make decisions, and the way you handle challenges. People can sense that you're not easily swayed, and that makes them want to be around you, work with you, and trust you. The beauty of focusing on your own growth is that it works no matter what life throws at you. Even when things aren't going perfectly, you're still building. You're still becoming more skilled, more resilient, more aligned with your values. And that momentum creates its own kind of stability. You're no longer at the mercy of external changes because your foundation comes from within. Over time, you realize that self-alignment isn't just about attracting the right things. It's about becoming the right person to handle them when they arrive. And that's where real, lasting success begins. When you stop reacting to everything around you, something interesting happens. The noise starts to fade. Drama doesn't survive without attention, and the moment you stop feeding it with your words, your emotions, or your time, it begins to lose its grip. Most people think they have to fight every rumor, defend every misunderstanding, or prove every point to keep their reputation intact. But the truth is, constant reaction only keeps the fire alive. Silence and stillness act like water. They cool things down until there's nothing left to burn. Not every battle deserves a warrior. Some situations exist solely because people want a reaction. They feed off your frustration, your anger, or your need to explain yourself. The second you stop giving them that fuel, the situation either dies down or moves on to find someone else willing to keep it alive. That's the hidden power of restraint. You win by refusing to play the game. It's not about avoiding conflict out of fear. It's about choosing your peace over pointless chaos. Unnecessary drama also thrives in environments where people are constantly competing for attention. The more you try to prove your side or push your perspective, the more tangled you get in a web that's designed to keep you stuck. But when you disengage, you free yourself. You stop being part of the cycle. You step out of the arena and realize you don't have to wrestle every challenge that calls your name. You get to decide what's worth your effort. And most of the time, drama isn't. There's also a shift in how people treat you when you refuse to be pulled into petty conflicts. At first, they might try harder to provoke you. They'll test your patience, waiting for you to break your silence. But when they see that your focus is elsewhere, that you're not easily baited, they eventually stop trying. You train others how to treat you by what you respond to. When you respond to every small thing, people think they have easy access to your energy. When you're selective, they learn that your attention is earned, not demanded. Letting go of unnecessary drama doesn't mean you never stand up for yourself. It means you choose the right moment, the right words, and the right battles. You're not reactive, you're strategic. And that makes you more effective when you do speak or take action. Your voice carries more weight because it's not always in the air. People notice when you finally decide to address something, and they pay attention because they know it must be important. The more you practice this, the lighter your life feels. You have more time, more mental space, and more emotional energy for things that actually matter. You start to see that most of what you were giving your attention to didn't deserve it in the first place. And once you get used to that piece, drama feels less like a game to win and more like a noise you're happy to leave in the distance. Patience is one of the hardest skills to master because it goes against the way we're wired to want results. We live in a world that rewards speed, quick replies, instant updates, same-day delivery. But when it comes to real change, personal growth, or meaningful success, speed is rarely the answer. Patience is. It's the discipline of trusting that things will fall into place in their own time without you forcing every detail. It's knowing when to act and when to wait. And often, the waiting is where the biggest shifts happen. When you force outcomes, you might get results faster, but they're often incomplete, unstable, or not what you truly wanted. Patience gives life the space to bring you what actually fits you, not just what's available right now. It's like planting seeds. You can't dig them up every day to see if they're growing. You water them, you nurture the soil, and you trust the process. That trust is what separates the frantic from the focused. The frantic are constantly adjusting, interfering, and trying to control every variable. The focused understand that some things need time to mature before they can be handled or appreciated. Patience also changes your relationship with challenges. When you expect instant results, every delay feels like failure. But when you have patience, delays become part of the journey. You start to see setbacks not as proof that you're losing, but as opportunities to refine your approach. This shift is powerful because it keeps you from giving up too soon. Most people quit just before things start to turn in their favor, simply because they couldn't handle the waiting. Patience is what keeps you in the game long enough to win. There's a quiet confidence that comes with patience, too. It signals to others that you believe in your own path enough not to rush it. That calm presence draws respect because people can feel when you're not desperate for shortcuts. You're not trying to prove your worth through quick wins. You're building something sustainable. That's attractive in friendships, in business, in relationships, in every area of life. It shows that you value the process as much as the outcome. Of course, patience isn't about doing nothing. It's active waiting. You still show up, you still do the work, but you're not trying to force the timing. You're ready when the opportunity comes, and in the meantime, you're using that waiting period to get better, stronger, and more prepared. That way, when the right door opens, you're not scrambling, you're walking through it with confidence. Over time, Patience rewards you in ways that rushing never could. It aligns you with the right timing, the right people, and the right circumstances. You realize that what you thought was a delay was actually protection, keeping you from something you weren't ready for yet. And when things finally do fall into place, they feel right, not because they happened fast, but because they happened when they were meant to. That's the quiet victory of patience. It always pays, and it pays in full. Confidence doesn't always announce itself with a loud voice or a bold gesture. Sometimes it's the calm silence in the middle of the noise. Stillness has a way of speaking louder than words because it signals that you're secure enough not to explain, defend, or prove yourself in every situation. When you carry that kind of quiet confidence, people notice. They pay attention not because you demanded it, but because your presence naturally commands it. Silence creates curiosity, and curiosity draws respect. In a world where most people feel the need to react instantly, to respond to every comment, defend every opinion, and jump into every conversation, stillness stands out. It's rare, it's intentional, and it sends a clear message. You're not controlled by outside pressure. You're not in a hurry to convince anyone. You're comfortable letting your actions speak, even if it takes time for people to understand them. That level of self-assurance doesn't just appear, it's built through experience, discipline, and a deep trust in yourself. Confidence in stillness also protects your energy. The less you explain yourself to those who don't really want to understand, the more time and focus you have for the things that matter. You start realizing that not every misunderstanding is worth clearing up, and not every criticism is worth addressing. Sometimes the best response is none at all. Silence leaves space for truth to reveal itself without you pushing it. And more often than not, it does. Another strength of stillness is the way it changes how people perceive your value. When you're selective with your words, each one carries more weight. People listen more closely because they know you don't speak just to fill the air. They sense that when you do say something, it's worth hearing. This creates influence without you needing to fight for it. You become the person others look to for grounded perspectives, not because you talk the most, but because you think before you do. Of course, stillness isn't about being passive or disconnected. It's about being deliberate. You can be calm and quiet, yet fully engaged. The difference is that you choose your moments instead of reacting to everyone else's. You're playing the long game, not chasing quick wins in conversations or arguments. This level of control over your reactions is a sign of true confidence. It means you trust yourself enough to let the right moment come to you. Over time, this silent confidence builds a reputation. People start to see you as unshakable, not because you never face challenges, but because you don't let those challenges dictate your presence. You lead without forcing, influence without demanding, and win without shouting. That's the beauty of confidence in stillness. It's quiet, but it moves everything around it. You become the steady center others anchor to, and in that space, you find that you don't need to chase respect because it's already finding you. When you focus on yourself and embrace silence, you stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You protect your energy, you see with clarity, you align with who you truly are, and you let unnecessary noise fall away. You learn to trust the timing of your life, understanding that patience builds results that last, and you discover the power of stillness, a quiet confidence that draws the right people, opportunities, and outcomes towards you without force. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters and letting the rest take care of itself. When you move like that, life doesn't just happen to you. It starts falling into place for you.